Hey everyone, Matt Thomas here with your EL Moment of the Week. Did you know that one of the most difficult things that an EL student can learn is how to read and write in their new language? Yeah, of course you all knew that. But guess who else had difficulty learning to read and write? Pretty much everybody. That's because according to neuroscience, no areas of the brain are specialized for reading. That's right, none. More specifically, Dr. David Sousa says that there are no areas of the brain specializing in interpreting, producing, and processing abstract symbols. Dr. Sousa says that reading is probably the most difficult task we ask young brains to undertake. You see, unless there are developmental issues, humans are born with the ability to speak. But the ability to read and write is a learned skill, a very difficult learned skill. In fact, according to the National Assessment of Adult Literacy, nearly 1 in 5 adults are functionally illiterate. And only 13% of adults are classified as proficient readers. A 2003 study suggested that only 25% of college graduates read at a proficient level. So how can this knowledge help us teach our EL students? First is by understanding how difficult it is to learn how to read and write in a new language. Well, in any language really, but especially for a new language. It's even more difficult if the EL student has issues reading and writing in their native language. Now, most EL students will first learn to write better than they read. They usually learn how to speak first, and then comes the writing ability, and then comes the reading ability. Unfortunately, because most academic tests are based on reading and writing, teachers don't always get an accurate indicator of what our EL students really know. Because as teachers, we want to have equity in our grading practice, it's important that we grade based on the knowledge of the content and not the knowledge of the language. Since speaking is usually the first to develop, allowing for verbal answers rather than written ones will really help our EL students. Grade on the intent of the answer if you feel that the student understands a concept, even if the word choice isn't 100% accurate. The student may know the answer in their native language, but may not yet have the English words to express it completely. Allow the use of Google Translate when you need written answers, understanding that not all words translate equally between languages. As teachers, we want to give our EL students every opportunity to earn good grades while they're still trying to learn their new language, especially if it's in a class where they would earn an A if the class was taught in their native language. So please be very understanding as to why reading and writing, especially reading, can be very difficult for our EL students, even our strongest performing ones. And allow for verbal responses to get a better indicator of what they know. And be careful of forcing your EL students to read aloud in class if they don't feel comfortable doing so. In a future video, I'll go into the neuroscience and psychology to why forcing students to read aloud can be detrimental to their learning growth. And that doesn't just apply to our EL students. It applies to all of our students. I'm Matt Thomas, and this was your EL Moment of the Week.